Campaign for Prime Minister Netanyahu is his ongoing corruption trial, where he's facing charges of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. Now, the Prime Minister was facing the prospect of starting his campaign with an in-person appearance in the dock on January 13th, but he got a big break when the Jerusalem District Court announced Friday it was delaying that hearing indefinitely due to the coronavirus lockdown. Now, this step came amid some new developments in the case that could impact on the proceedings. Early in the program, I spoke to Yehuda Schaefer, former deputy state attorney, about these developments and the possible outcomes.
I think they're signaling, the court is signaling that they mean business and they're going to deal with this quite effectively. For instance, they delayed the defense's request to answer to the indictment in writing by only 7 days. So that will be, in 1 week, that will be submitted. And then when will the oral hearing be for him to answer to the charges? I don't know, nobody knows. If I have to take a guess, given that they are giving such short time periods in their recent decisions, I would guess that this will be right after lockdown ends. We don't have the doctrine of the fruit of the poisonous tree, so even if evidence was obtained illegally, that doesn't necessarily mean the evidence will be inadmissible. In fact, it probably will be admissible. But I'm not even sure that anything was obtained illegally here. The law, the basic law, government, which tells us that the Prime Minister cannot be investigated without the consent of the Attorney General, does not demand a specific separate authorization document as the defense attorneys are claiming. It does demand his consent, and his consent can be, as it was, as the prosecution claims, in a series of meetings held at the Attorney General's office. The prosecution did not want to submit the full protocols of these, so there was a little fight there with the court. There was a little bouncing back and forth of decisions. At the end of the day, the court ordered the prosecution to submit these protocols and blacken anything that's not relevant, which will be most of the document. So the protocols were submitted. The defense attorneys will probably answer next week and say that they're not satisfied or whatever. But I can tell you from my experience, in Israel, in Israeli democracy, no elected person in the Knesset, and definitely not the Prime Minister, is investigated by the police without consent of the Attorney General. It never happens.